What up? And we're back for another edition of Armchair GMs. Excuse me. Brought to you by Jocks of All Trades podcast. I'm Bugman J, that guy over there, that guy.
Matty Ice, Bugman
We're
J,
back.
Matty Ice. We back.
We're back. How's it been, brother?
Oh, just getting prepared more and more for the holiday season and Christmas and
Definitely.
doing last minute Christmas shopping. Still um, dealing with the excitement with that. How about you? You done with your Christmas shopping yet?
Yes. Luckily, we only had to go through that hell for about a day or so. Amazon came through for us. All of our stuff was delivered on time, so we're just waiting on time because the kids are out of school. They got out of school Tuesday, so we're just trying to find time to be Christmas ninjas and wrap presents when they're not around. So that's where we're at right now.
I was gonna say, if anything, like the kids are done. I just got to buy for Shannon. So
Yes, now
I-
that day,
I-
I'm right there with you. Right there with
I
you.
was gonna say, so I plan on still going out tomorrow, even though we're projected to have a very bad winter storm. But
Yes.
I'm still gonna tough it out. So see if I lose my sanity tomorrow at some point. Can't wait.
You see my attire, my dress, the way I'm dressing has changed a lot. Like, dude, we were supposed to have like 70-degree weather all week this week, and then all of a sudden Sunday it was below freezing. I woke up Sunday morning, it was 31 degrees outside.
So that's hoodie weather for me.
Yeah, man. So I'm all bundled down, bro. It's we don't usually get weather like this so early. We were thinking we were gonna have like warm weather for Christmas like we did last year. Last year we were in the 70s for Christmas. This year
Oh, wow.
We're gonna be have a high 45, low 22 type stuff. So
I was gonna say here in Indiana on Christmas Day it'll be a high of 4,
what?
I think. Yeah, it'll be a high of 4. No, I'm sorry. They changed it to a high of 11, but with the wind chill, it's supposed to feel in the negatives, so I can't wait.
That sounds like so much fun.
Dude, I love the cold weather, though. I love the cold weather.
Can't do it, man. It's like as soon as it gets below 60 degrees, my body just turns into a human popsicle. My fingers and my toes, man, always cold. Can never get it to go away. But we persevere, we press on. You know what I mean?
There you
Gotta
go.
go with it.
There you go.
But to get us on the right track. All right, so playoffs started. It's officially started in every league. So tonight's going to be kind of condensed for a lot of people, but we're gonna try to pack in a lot of information, like a few rankings to see who to start, who to sit, in what situation. A couple guys that are out there that could really help, maybe in the flex wide receiver 3 or deeper leagues, probably to help you move on to the next round. How are you doing in fantasy football right now?
Terrible.
Terrible?
Terrible.
No.
I've been eliminated in all 3 of my leagues. So
No.
better
See-
luck next year.
That's why it is quantity over quality in these situations, man. Because
Yeah.
I'm in 10 leagues. I made it to the playoffs, 5 of them. So I was about
It's a good ratio.
Yeah, it was a good ratio.
It's better than mine, which is a goose egg. So
Yeah, but better luck next year. Hopefully you've learned a little bit. I need to get and find some keep leagues. That's what I've been missing.
I was going to say, I am taking the Chicago Cubs approach, and there's always next year. So,
well, you can't say that about the Cubs now. They went out and signed Dansby Swanson.
Yeah, we are loading up for next year. Obviously,
Finally got
things
rid
got
of
to fall.
Jason Hayward.
Yeah. Well, listen, I was a fan of Hayward. I was a fan of him when he played in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
And I was excited when he did come to Chicago. It was just one of those. He was too old and kind of past his, like in his twilight years at that point. But I mean, he could still play right field just fine. So I wasn't
Yeah,
going to complain too much. But we did get out of that contract, so I'll take it for what it is.
I like it. I like it. Would I have liked to keep Dansby Swanson in Atlanta? Homegrown talent, yes. Can I be mad that the Braves didn't overpay for him? No, I can't be mad. I can't be mad, but sometimes I just have to wonder, man, about the system.
Yeah.
What kind of talent do we have? But that's another topic for another day. Biggest takeaway from any game last week?
We saw the biggest comeback in NFL history. Minnesota coming back from 33 points.
Definitely.
I counted them out. I was at work that day, and of course, all the people I work with, they live in Indiana.
Yeah.
And they're Colts fans, so I heard it all afternoon long. And then I go to leave work, and then somehow we had just tied it up at 36, and I'm just like, what the hell is going on?
Yes.
Like, what happened? But we came back, we persevered. Minnesota football, I was amazed. I was amazed that we were able to come back and win that game.
Definitely.
How about you? Anything stand out to you this past week as far as football goes?
Well, Desmond Ritter got a lackluster first career start. Saw a little bit of potential there, but I like the way that Cincinnati's playing football right now. They really went in and tried to really had a comeback and really took over that game with Tampa Bay and really just showed why they should still be considered as a team that could make it back in the playoffs and go on a deep run, because with all three of their wide receivers healthy and that defense just given enough but not too much. Offensive line looks improved. Last two games they've looked awesome, and I'm kind of considering putting Joe Burrow into the must-start category of my quarterbacks, because he really stepped up and has really played good football over the last couple of weeks. Yeah, that's my biggest takeaway. Kind of a long view.
Now, one thing that did bother me watching highlights and everything, for whatever reason, New England deciding to, lateral the ball as much as humanly possible.
Yes.
And, Raiders, they ended up, intercepting a lateral move and took it back, game-winning touchdown there. And it was just like, just take the knee, take it into overtime. At least
there you go. Why do you have to continue to just push it?
The game was tied. Like, just take the knee, take it into overtime.
Do what you have to do.
To me, it made no sense. It made no sense whatsoever.
None at all. But all right, we wanna get into our ads. Trying to pay a few bills today. I think I have the reins today on ads, so
you did.
Started with Fresh Cuts. Fresh Cuts is the local barber shop in Marion, Indiana. Contact Caleb Kemper for an appointment time through www.freshcutsbarbershop.com. Fresh Cuts is not just a haircut, it's an experience. Our next ad comes from Steve Wood Illustrations, here for all your art needs, from Star Wars to G.I. Joe and beyond. See him for all the nerds in your life who you aren't sure what to get. You won't be disappointed. All right. Our next ad comes from our friends from Afro Latinos. are changing things up. Check out the Culture Corner podcast featuring Avin and Shaylin. They have a diverse number of shows from Come On Son to an old classic you think you know. Catch them live and play along. All right. Our next ad comes from Rules of the Frame. It's another frame cast specializing in movie reviews of pretty much anything there is. Connor was recently on our episode of Random Fandom talking about film, and we hope to have him on our other show, Smash Popcorn, very soon. All right. Our final, but not least, ad comes from A Thousand Wives of Weird, and they are just that, weird. From reviews of weird movies to criticizing bad movie choices, Brad H. and Ian Kiefer will keep you entertained and laughing for hours on end. Check them out exclusively on Spotify. And we're done.
Woo! I'll give you 2 thumbs up.
2 thumbs up. All right. I want to get back to something we kind of overlooked last week. And we're going to go to our injury news and notes. I should have a bulletin sound thing, like breaking news. All right, I digress. All right, let me look through the injuries for today. Aaron Donald will miss the Thursday night football game. This is his second straight ankle injury. Let's move on.
I feel like there's quite a few injuries going on in the league for this week. Got the news that Jalen Hurts is going to be out.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be a tough blow for Philly.
Yes. Also, Wolford is not clear to start, so that means Baker Mayfield will probably start again against the Raiders. Von Miller's rehab is going well, but that's more of a long look to 2023 because he was shut down for the year. We have a lot of injuries going on this weekend. Mark Ingram tears his MCL, so he is likely out for 4 to 6 weeks. Ooh. Jimmy G is reportedly not done for the season. There is a long stretch that possibility that he could actually be available. I'm going to get this name bad. It's offensive lineman for the Miami Dolphins. His name is Liam Ischenberg, set to return from IR. That should give their offensive line a boost, so that might give a boost to Raheem Mostert and maybe Wilson if he plays. All right. Speaking of Wilson, he was not. Jalen Waddle was limited with fibula injury. We also have Tua is limited with what seems to be an ankle injury, but they are all still participating, so that's a good sign. If they're not playing, if they're sitting out, that's when you have to worry. Josh Jacobs is questionable for the game on Thursday with a quad and a calf injury. Brandon Powell from the Rams is questionable with an illness. It might be probably COVID related, but cornerback for the Dallas Cowboys, Anthony Brown, is done with a season-ending Achilles rupture, so that's going to put a little bit more pressure on the defense. I think. Am I missing anything? Is there anything that you've seen?
Jonathan Taylor, high ankle sprain. The Colts are shutting him down for the year, so he's done. Zach Wilson is going to start in place of Mike White this week.
Yes.
Let's see here. Those are 2 that come to mind. I already mentioned Jalen Hurts, so Gardner Minshew will be starting in place of him.
I see that Nick Chubb is questionable with an injury as well. And Lamar Jackson.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, I feel like there's been a lot of like injuries this year, like more than usual.
Yeah, and a
Like,
supposedly safer league.
yeah,
Okay, I
it's
have a quick
just it's
question for
just
you.
unreal. What's
I'm
that?
just quick pivot. If Nick Chubb is out, how much closer would you? How good would you feel with going with Kareem Hunt as your RB2?
I'd feel confident about it, honestly. I mean, Kareem Hunt. I mean, prior to joining the Browns organization, he was the lead back in Kansas City. He
Mhm.
proved to be a real, real weapon for that team. And leading up to the season, he wanted out of Cleveland because I think he was ready to be RB1. He
Uh-huh.
has that potential, definitely. I would feel confident with him being an RB2 in fantasy. So yeah.
Okay. All right.
If somehow you handcuffed him with Nick Chubb, then yeah, I mean, go ahead. I mean, you have that safety net right there. Go ahead and start Kareem Hunt in case Chubb can't go.
Ooh, Ryan Tannehill limited with and Jeffrey Simmons are both limited with an ankle injury. So
I was
that
going to say I saw that about an hour ago. That was one I forgot to mention. So thank you for that.
yes. Da, da, da. Uh, Lamar Jackson is week to week with his injury, and it's the coach said it's less likely that he will play this week. So that will be great for them playing my Atlanta Falcons. But even with Lamar Jackson, that offense has just been very lackluster outside of the inconsistent run game that they get. But let's see how that works. Lions DeAndre Swift was limited today with an ankle injury. Michael Carter ankle is not listed on the injury report, so he has been upgraded. So that is a good sign. Kenneth Walker has been ruled out. Da, da, da. I think that would be. I think that'll be about it. Up, Jerry Judy is expected to return versus the Ravens. That will be next week. And no, so, okay. Well, that's it. That's all I have for news and notes.
I was going to say, I mean, I think that pretty much covers all the injury news, which, like we said, there's quite a bit of them this
Yeah.
week. So,
If we
and it's
missed
not just
any
like,
that you know of, we're sorry. Any impact players that Damian Pierce is out as well. So Rick Burkhead is your next option.
the list just keeps going.
Yes.
But I mean, it's late in the season.
Mm-hmm. It happens.
What turned out to be a nagging hurt turned into an injury. So I mean, it's a physical game. It's likely to happen. So I mean, it's just part of the game. Unfortunately, hate to
Yes.
see it, but it happens. Nature of the beast.
Yes, sir. All right. So we're going to move on forward to our. This has changed again. We're going to go to our jocks grades. All right. Oh, okay. Also, we're gonna have a little snip conversation about all fantasy quarterback today.
Okay.
Kind of pre before the end of the playoffs and the final scores going. We have a couple weeks to kind of fine tune it, and then we'll pick our all fantasy MVPs and we'll go from there.
I like it.
All right. So for me, my obvious choice, I feel would be the obvious choice for my jock A plus 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 goes to Trevor Lawrence. He was 30 for 42, 368 yards, 3 touchdowns, 3 rushing attempts for 7 yards, and another touchdown, giving him 33.4 fantasy points. He had 3 more fantasy points than Jalen Hurts. and he's rostered in 76% of leagues. He has been on an ascension to a higher level of quarterback. Like, this is the year 1 to year 2 jump is sometimes pretty big, but it starts off a little bit sooner than now, But he's kind of a late bloomer to really establishing what kind of player he wants to be. And after these last 2 games, you've got a bird's eye view of what his potential is to be. Now, what he's going to have to continue to do is he's going to have to continue to progress and not just rest on his laurels just because he's had a couple of good games, because his schedule gets a little tough after this week. So, but I really feel like he should be in the consideration for must-start quarterback, really no matter who he plays, because he has stepped up and Zay Jones has not let him down. Like, those 2 guys, I'm sorry if I'm dipping into your waters over there, but he has established something in that offense. This offense looks so much better than the Urban Meyer days, I just have to say.
I was going to say, like, you're talking about that year 1 to year 2 jump.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, first off, disclaimer, I'm not comparing Trevor Lawrence to Peyton Manning. So let's just get that out there. But what I am going to say is, you look at Peyton Manning's first year, I think he threw like 27 interceptions his first year. And then, year 2, yeah, he's still, developing, so on and so forth. You still have those woes, as you're developing into a decently caliber player.
Yeah.
But look what happened after that. Year 3, it was, lights out. Year 4, so on and so forth. And that might be the same case for Trevor Lawrence, going forward. So,
yeah.
I mean, he was projected to be, like, he went number 1 overall for a reason. So, I think this time next year, well, come at the beginning of next year, I mean, he may be in the topic of doing some major things and turning the Jaguars around. So we'll wait and see. I mean, obviously, Jaguars have to put some more weapons around him, even though they got some pretty decent ones right now. So,
not to mention that Calvin Ridley left next year.
Yeah, I keep forgetting. I keep forgetting that trade ever happened. And I think it's because we haven't seen Calvin Ridley for
over
a bogus reason. For a bogus reason. But I digress.
All right. Let me go to my joke. My F grade will go to Mac Jones. He just looked really, really bad. He was 24 of 35. He threw 1 touchdown and also threw an interception. And it just didn't look good. 5 rushes for -1 yards. Gave him a grand total of 8.3 fantasy points. Like, I don't get what they ever saw in Mac Jones. Like, if you look at the track record, there are very few Alabama quarterbacks, that actually been successful in the league. Technically, Jalen Hurts was an Alabama quarterback, so he's technically in that boat, But it's hard. The system is hard, and their system's so cookie cutter, so bland. There's nothing really exotic about it. So they have a hard time progressing to a more exotic, expanded, and it's not in their DNA. It doesn't seem like, and it doesn't seem like it's in Mac Jones' DNA. I'm just saying. Like, if I had to pick a quarterback to start off a franchise with, long term, I would not even think about Mac Jones, because he just shows you all the negative qualities of a quarterback in a nutshell. Bad with decision making, holds the ball too long, makes bonehead plays, can be uber efficient as long as he doesn't throw the ball down the field. Like, that's not a quarterback you want to have, Dink and dunk is not going to do anything. It's just going to get you field goals. That's it. But I digress. I'm gonna try to speed through this so we can get a couple things in. My Yeah, I do have this right. Once again, um, Jared McKinnon. I was talking about him last week. 10 attempts for 52 yards, a rushing touchdown, 8 receptions for 70 yards, and another touchdown to give him. What it just keeps never. Hold on. Let me make sure this is right. This website is just going all wonky on me. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, for a grand total of 34.2 fantasy points. He just keeps doing it. Dalvin Cook could have honestly been there as well. It's just he could have been there
I was
as
gonna
well.
say, I was gonna say, Dalvin though you kind of expect those numbers. Jared McKinnon, I mean,
In the
you haven't
passing
heard
game,
much of
he's
him.
just been so much more than I would have expected. You know what I mean? And it's just been every week. Isaiah Pachenko gets the ground game, first and second down, and Jared McKinnon third down, passing down. He's in there and he's being targeted, and he's uber efficient. You can't argue with those numbers because if you're on the field for 43% of the time snaps, and you're able to create this much efficiency and a slight balance, getting more rush attempts this week than he did last week. You know, he didn't catch as many passes for as many yards, but he got touchdowns running the ball and passing the ball. So he's become uber efficient. Now, when will the other shoe fall off? I think they have a schedule which he can continue to shine. So I think going down the field, going down the line, I don't see much of a change. Sorry, plug in my.
No, you're good. I was just gonna add, McKinnon. I mentioned it last week. When he was in Minnesota, you know, he was a great, option out of the backfield as a receiving running back. And I hated that Minnesota let him go,
Mm-hmm.
but he's coming back into his own. He's proving that he can be, a efficient, reliable target as well out of the backfield and can do some good things for your franchise for a quarterback. Like if you just need to dump it off somewhere,
There you go.
he can catch it and take it upfield for a few yards and get you either a first down or a touchdown, depending on the situation.
There you go. All right. Well, here we go. For my F grade, it's a split between Rashad White and I'm just going to say the Tampa Bay running backs this week because they were both horrible. They both got 11 snaps. Rashad White only got 38 yards, 2 receptions for 5 yards for fantasy total 5.3. Someone who came out of the gun like a smoking gun just to fizzle out like this just shows that there's not much really potential there. Leonard Fournette didn't do much better. 10 touches, 44 yards, 4 receptions for 30 yards. He did get 11.4 fantasy points, so he did have a decent flex floor, but it's just bad. Real life stats out of the bad. You couldn't even get 100 yards rushing out of 2 running backs. And they're darn near equal snap count. It's just bad. The offense just looks really bad. But not to get in the rant, I digress. Move on to you, buddy.
All right, so for wide receivers, for the second week in a row, I'm giving an A plus to Justin Jefferson. 16 targets, 12 receptions, 123 yards, 1 touchdown. He passed Stephon Diggs in the all-time Viking list at number 9. This is the second time in his 3-year career so far that he's topped 1,600 yards. Week 16 matchup against the Giants. I don't see him having another monster game, but he should have another decent game as the Giants are only averaging
Well,
6.
you're mistaking the Giants for the Jets. The Jets secondary is a lot better than the Giants secondary.
True. I'll give you that. But the Giants, they're averaging 6.43 points per matchup right now. So it's just,
One of those things.
Yeah, and Minnesota coming back the way they did last week. I'm ready for them to, because I mean, like a few weeks back, we had that big game against Buffalo, and then the following week we got our tails handed to us. So I'm waiting on that to happen this coming week.
There you go.
We get on cloud nine. We get on cloud nine, and then we fall flat on our faces. That's what I'm waiting for.
Hey, you clinched that spot by winning the other day, so you did what you had to do.
I'll take that. I'll take that North title.
There you go.
So I'm giving an F to Devontae Adams though.
What?
Nine target. He had 9 targets, 4 receptions, and 44 yards for 6.8 points.
Oh,
Yeah.
they shut him down.
Do what?
They shut him down.
Yeah, they did. This is the second contest in a row that he's fallen way below his projected stats. I look for him to bounce back this week, though, against Pittsburgh's secondary.
Yeah.
So long as the Raiders, can limit their turnovers. So we'll see on that. Tight ends, I'm giving an A+ to George Kittle. He had 25.3 points, 5 targets, 4 receptions, 93 yards, 2 touchdowns. He exploded on the field last week against Seattle.
Yes.
He's shown to be, a reliable target for Brock Purdy. He's a pretty good target.
Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Don't do it.
However, they are going up against Washington, which I was looking at Washington's stats this year or for this season. They have 34 sacks on the year, 7 interceptions, 8 forced fumbles, 8 fumble recoveries.
There you go.
So Washington might be able to keep San Francisco's offense in check, but we will see come Thursday, or not Thursday, come this weekend. And I'm giving an F to Dalton Schultz.
No.
He only had 3.5 points.
Oh, yeah. That's pretty bad.
4 targets, 2 receptions, 15 yards. I don't put it solely on him, though, because, I mean, you have 2 tight ends for Dallas who are moving, like their snap count is getting higher and higher. That's Peyton Hendershot and Jake Ferguson. They go up against Philly this coming week, and I wouldn't consider starting Dalton Schultz or like if you have Dak, I would stay clear of starting him as well, because looking at Philly's defensive numbers, they have 15 interceptions, 14 forced fumbles, and 10 fumble recoveries this year. So with Dak's play as of late, I'd be a little weary.
I feel you, dog. All right. And there you have it. Now, we're going to transition right over into our playoff locks and bench warmers. But we're going to do it a little bit differently this time. I'm going to go through the Week 16 rankings, and we're going to pick outside of the top 5. I'm going to give you the top 5 right now. We have Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Justin Fields, Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow. So those currently are the top 5. So we're gonna work outside of the top 5 to see who has the best potential to be a playoff lock or a bench warmer, or it's at least someone you would consider starting with any of the symptoms. So we're gonna go through this list right here. We got at number 6, we have Tua Tagovailoa. 7, Geno Smith. 8, Kirk Cousins. 9, Dak Prescott. And 10, Trevor Lawrence. So, how confident would you feel about starting Tua at Green Bay?
I would feel confident like this week, honestly. I know I was more confident last week with starting him against Buffalo, but Buffalo and I mean Miami took that to like a last second field goal
Mm-hmm.
for Buffalo. I mean Buffalo pulled it out obviously, but
Mm-hmm.
you know, I do like I after this year I've become a Tua believer.
Okay. All right.
So I feel confident with starting Tua.
All right. Let's see. Geno Smith at Kansas City.
So Kansas City's defense has been a little I don't want to say lackluster,
Suspect.
but yeah, that's a good yeah, I like that. They've been suspect. I would I would feel all right with starting Geno Smith against Kansas City this week. So yeah, I would say a playoff lock.
All right. Now we're going to get to the sticky part. Kirk Cousins at the Giants.
I got man, I got to go with bench warmer.
Bench warmer. Yeah, sticky
Yeah,
defense. Sticky
I
defense.
yeah, I got to go with bench warmer because I mean Cousins. I mean we've seen it throughout his career, and the highs and lows, especially since he's been in Minnesota. He has a
Mhm.
great game. He'll have a subpar game, have another great game, and then fall flat.
Yeah.
And that's what I feel like is going to happen this week. Hopefully, I'm wrong. I have confidence in my Vikings, but I history has a way of repeating itself.
There you go. All right. Moving forward. Dak Prescott versus Philly. Playoff lock or bench warmer?
Bench warmer.
All right.
I just read off the numbers for Philly's defense. I got to go with bench warmer.
Okay. Last one. Trevor Lawrence at the Jets. Playoff lock or bench warmer?
This is tough. This is tough. I'm going to go bench warmer.
Hold on. Before you
And the
say that,
reason,
let me give you one more sneaky stat. All right.
okay, go for it.
Trevor Lawrence has been battling a toe injury for the last couple of weeks, but he has been a top 5 fantasy quarterback 3 out of the last 4 weeks, and the injury did not stop him from tallying 28 fantasy points last week.
Yeah, but that Jets secondary this week.
It's ninth against fantasy quarterbacks. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, with Ahmad Gardner, like I'm wary of starting anyone lining up across from him and that quarterback at the same time. So for me personally, I would consider Trevor Lawrence a bench warmer.
All right. All right. Moving on to running backs. We're going to kind of speed this up a little bit. Outside of the top 5, here are the top 5. Christian McCaffrey, Derrick Henry, Austin Eckler, Jacobs, and Saquon Barkley. So here are your choices. Dalvin Cook, Ramondre Stevenson, Tony Pollard, Aaron Jones. And since it's highly unlikely that Nick Chubb will play because he is dealing with a foot injury in bad weather, they might want to hold him out in that game. So I'm going to replace him with Jared McKinnon. Okay, so starting from the top, Dalvin Cook, playoff lock or bench warmer. They are playing. Oh, Green Bay. I mean the Giants.
I'm going to say playoff lock just because I mean Dalvin, he's especially in PPR, he's going to get some points for sure. So I would say playoff lock.
All right, Ramondre Stevenson at Cincinnati. Well, they're at home against Cincinnati.
Um, I would say a lock. I mean, Stevenson's coming into his own this year. I got to ride the hot hand. So let's
Okay.
go with a lock.
All right, moving right along. Tony Pollard versus Philly. Playoff lock or bench warmer?
I got to go bench warmer for a couple reasons. I
The
mean,
number
Philly's
8
defense.
RB, you're going to bench him?
He's going up against Philly's defense, and you still got to consider Ezekiel Elliott. So,
To what
I
extent?
trust Pollard.
To what extent? You want to know what Ezekiel's ranking is this week?
Let's see. According to NFL Fantasy, he's number 19 right
Yes.
now.
Yes.
So, yeah, dude, I hate to say because I do like Pollard, but against that Philly defensive line, it's hard for me to consider starting him right now.
Hold on, give me a second. I've got these ads screens popped up right in front of you. Okay, the
You're
worst
good,
time
you're
ever.
good.
But all right, moving along. Aaron Jones at Miami. Start playoff lock or bench warmer?
I'd say lock.
Okay. All right. Moving along. Last but not least, Jared McKinnon versus Seattle. Lock or bench warmer?
I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for this because of what I just said about Pollard, but I would take Jared McKinnon over Pollard this week.
You're going against not as good a defense, run defense to be specific. That's the best matchup on this board.
That I know. That's what I'm saying. Like I would lock McKinnon in for sure.
All right. We're moving on to wide receivers. Going to get the usual names here. In the top 5 is Justin Jefferson, Devontae Adams, Tyreek Hill, Stephon Diggs, and Jamar Chase. So, out of our choices, we have Amon-Ra St. Brown, DK Metcalf, AJ Brown, CD Lamb, and Keenan Allen. Now, this list is a lot more condensed because I could continue to go down to maybe 26, and I would quite possibly pick in a certain situation multiples of these guys.
Oh yeah.
But we're gonna stick with our demographic real quick. So, all right, first on the list is Amon-Ra St. Brown. He is going up against Carolina. They are on the road. Lock or bench warmer?
Lock it in.
Lock it in.
Lock
He's
it
just
in.
been on a tear the last couple of weeks. It's like nothing you can do can stop his production. And that offense is running on all cylinders right now. I'm loving seeing at least one of the teams I go for. It happens to be my wife's team, but just be good and just turn it around. Started out 1-6.
That's what I'm saying. Like that, the Detroit Lions. Like, I'm scared to see what they're going to do next year. Honestly, like Dan Campbell has turned that franchise around instantly.
Yes.
Within like a 2-year period. So, yeah, lock in Amon-Ra St. Brown.
All right, moving right along. With no Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf at Kansas City.
I say lock it in. I mean, we mentioned it earlier how Kansas City's defense is suspect at best. So
Definitely.
I'd say lock it in.
All right. AJ Brown at Dallas.
I'm going to say lock it.
There you go.
I'm going to say lock it in.
I'll take that. All right.
I had to think about it, but
you have to take it a little second. They do have Trayvon Diggs, but he's more of a ball hawk than an island. So,
yeah.
All right. CD Lamb versus Philly. A whole other ball game when you're looking at it from the other side, isn't it?
This is true. I would take a chance. Take a chance because, I mean, I know I just said, earlier that Dak Prescott's, play has been subpar at best.
But all you got to do is be consistent with one wide receiver. That's
exactly. And CeeDee Lamb, he as soon as he gets the ball, he can make things happen. So I gotta say lock CeeDee Lamb in.
All right, you got a lot of locks in the wide receiver range. I tell you, it's dense. All right, last one. Keenan Allen at Tennessee. At Indiana, I'm sorry.
Uh Man, that one's tough. That's late. Okay, so I haven't even actually looked at his stats because like Keenan Allen has kind of fallen off my radar. So let me look at his stats real quick
He's just
before I
been,
give
it's
you
just
a.
an injury plagued season for him.
Yeah. Pulling up the stats right now. So hold on a second. I would take a chance. I mean, he's been pretty consistent lately, or since he's come back. So I would say lock him in as well.
All
Even
right,
though
all
Indy's even
odds.
though even though Indy's defense is pretty stout, they did just give up, a huge lead the other day. So
Definitely. It's definitely possible. All right. Now, moving on to our last category, which will be tight ends. All right. We are moving outside of the top five. The top five will be Travis Kelsey, Mark Andrews, uh, Kettle, TJ Hawkinson, Dalton Schultz. Oh, yeah, and Dalton Schultz. So, our little tier will be the second tier will be Darren Waller, Evan Ingram, Pat Fryermuth, David Njoku, and Gerald Everett. So we're going to start at the top here. Let's talk about Darren Waller at Pittsburgh. Playoff lock or bench warmer?
for Darren Waller, I gotta say lock, just
Mm-hmm.
solely on the fact that he is coming back from injury.
Mm-hmm.
He seems like this past week he went 3 targets, 3 receptions, got a score. So
Getting
I
back
would
into
say
the
a
groove.
lock.
All
Yeah,
right.
get him. He's going to get back in his groove.
All right. Evan Ingram versus the Jets. Back on this game again.
So for Evan Ingram, he's been real consistent as of late. Kind of consistent for the most part all season long. I gotta say lock for him as well.
Okay. All right. Let's go on to our next one. Pat Fryermuth. He's
Mm,
home versus Las Vegas. Back to this again. He had a lackluster week last week.
I was gonna say I think he was out for injury last week, if I'm not mistaken. Um, I gotta say bench. To be honest, I hate to say it, but I just don't trust. I just don't trust
Kenny
Pittsburgh's
Pickett.
offense enough to.
Kenny
I
Pickett's
don't
back.
trust Kenny Pickett enough.
How you don't trust Kenny Pickett enough? All right.
Not yet. Not yet. Maybe next year. We'll
All right.
see.
All right. Next on our list will be David Njoku, who is questionable right now. But if he's a full go, they'll be going up against New Orleans, which, from the matchup, from my opinion, not to kind of sway you a little bit, but from my side, there New Orleans matches up pretty well against tight ends, so it may not be a good game.
I was gonna say with him being questionable right now, and with him like against that matchup, I don't. Yeah, it's got to be a bench warmer for me.
Okay. All right. Last but not least, Gerald Everett at Indiana.
I think I trust. I think I trust him a little more than I would Keenan Allen right now, to be honest. So I'm
For
going to go
serious,
with I do a little bit, honestly,
I
especially in I'm sorry,
I said I can see it.
especially in
Consistent.
like red zone situations. I would take Gerald Everett. So I would say playoff lock for sure for Gerald Everett.
All right. Now let's be done with this one, and we're going to speed through this one. I'm going to give you my all MVP vote, and it's going to be someone you've heard me say before. I'm obviously going to take the cop out, and I'm going to give it to Patrick Mahomes. This is my first early look, just based on his full stat line for the season. Let me get back to the top. There we go. All right. As of right now, he has a passer rating of 105. Has completed 67.4% of his passes, which, as it stands right now, is a career high. Yardage, he's at 4,400. Touchdowns, he has 35. It's kind of down from last year, but he has a chance to surpass that. But he's at over 23,000 passing yards in his career. He's continuing to put up massive games, bring his team back from seems like the depths of hell sometimes, and just pulled out a win. I really feel like Kansas City is the team to beat in the AFC because you can see the liability issues, I would call them, with the Buffalo Bills. So very easy cop out. Just takes one really strong defense really to push them over the edge. So I really think Patrick Mahomes is the quarterback that I'm going to pick.
So you're going to go with Patrick Mahomes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to take the guy opposite of him. I'm going to take Jalen Hurts. You should have seen that one coming. I'm surprised you didn't. So I'm looking at his stat line right now. So far, 3,472 yards passing, 22 passing touchdowns, only 5 interceptions.
Mm-hmm.
He's got 747 rushing yards, 13 touchdowns, and only 2 lost fumbles this year. So bringing his combined turnovers to 7 for the year. But he's just been a stud this year. And, I know a lot of it has to do with the playmakers around him. And, it's no secret, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Miles Sanders has been, pretty consistent, all year long.
Goddard.
But Goddard's been kind of in and out, all season long as well. But still, with me, I got to give it to Jalen Hurts. It's hard to argue with those numbers, especially since Philly only has 1 loss on the year. It does suck that he's going to be, out this week, but we'll see. We'll see how they do this week against Dallas. I'm hopeful for them, though.
All right. You have anything for lightning round this week?
I do, actually. In regards to Jalen Hurts being out, let me get the timer ready for you.
All right, I'm ready.
So, we've talked about it a few times. Jalen Hurts going to be out this week. I'm going to give you 30 seconds. So, what can Philly do to beat Dallas this week with Gardner Minshew taking the reins for starting quarterback?
RPO Dallas to death. Outside zone. It's just really being very run heavy. Short intermediate routes, expanding the pocket. Granted, Gardner Minshew is not the worst backup quarterback in the world. He's actually pretty proficient. So it shouldn't be much of a difference. You just shouldn't expect for everyone to get full fantasy-wise off of Gardner Minshew's arm. But if they condense it and control the clock, I don't see them having any problems. Slow grinding this game out, 1999 Tampa Bay Buccaneers type offense. Slow it down. Pass when you need to, run when you got to. There you go.
I like it. Okay, just quick yes or no. Quick yes or no. Can Philly win without Jalen Hurts this week?
Yes. Full vote of confidence.
So for this next one, I'm going to give you 45 seconds because it's somewhat of a 2-part question. So this past week, Aaron Rodgers and post game interview, he believes that the Packers can still make the playoffs through the wild card. It's a long shot, but it could happen. I mean, the thing's got to fall right for sure for it to happen, but it could happen. So, from you, I want to hear a hot take, on who's going to sneak in just barely from each conference, AFC and NFC. 45 seconds.
You blanked me with that one. Okay. Obviously not Green Bay. I would really say it'd be really sneaky, and it kind of sounds a little biased, but the NFC South, it's kind of like a four-way tie right now. So I kind of think that if not Atlanta, then maybe quite possibly Carolina could pull something out and be in the playoffs in the AFC. Sneaky. AFC is kind of cut and dry a little bit more. There's really no sneaky teams. You really know who you're facing. If you want to get a team that's sneaky, has a chance to make a deep run, I go back to the Cincinnati Bengals. They really seem like a team that could really take the top off a lot of defenses, and their defense itself can do enough to hold them in games now, much better than last year. So they won a lot of tough games. So that's my sneaky AFC Championship game right there, contender right there.
Ooh, I like it. All right, last one. I mentioned earlier Zach Wilson, which I'm going to move back to 30 seconds for this one. I mentioned earlier Zach Wilson is going to be starting for the Jets.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to know, do you think he can regain the trust from the whole locker room if he plays well and or even gets a W?
Yeah. I think he can win some respect back in that regard. You saw as a quarterback. It's just
Oh,
I'm
seem to be
back.
losing you there, buddy.
Oh, there you go.
I was going to say we
All
lost
right.
you there.
He's just got to take those. He's just got to continue.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
All right. Yeah, I was going to say we'll take the timer off. Let's just roll with it.
Okay. Well, I just really feel like he could win their trust back by doing the little things and taking it upon himself to realize that he hasn't been playing up to his potential, and it's nobody's fault but his own. Because I really feel like if Mike White can come out there and give you 110%, even though they win more with Zach Wilson, for some odd reason, I don't get it. It's just I wish they could just put those two together and just make a person, because they'd just be so great if they both had the intangibles that the other didn't. You know what I mean? Zach Wilson he's more built to drive and to try to win. Mike White is more of a stabilizer. Keep things in front of me. We're going to give ourselves every opportunity to win, but I can't take you there. So Zach Wilson's just got to continue to learn from Mike White and become a better quarterback. If he can do that, you saw a little glimpse of it, but you also saw the bonehead plays. So he just has a little bit more work. Do I think he should have been picked? No. But can he make it work? Yes. He can make it work, but he has to take it upon himself to make it work. You know what I mean?
I'm just going to throw out this hot take there. I mentioned, or I kind of somewhat compared Trevor Lawrence to Peyton Manning. Why don't we just go ahead and compare, Zach Wilson to Ryan Leaf?
That's harsh. That's harsh. That's harsh. Oh, man.
Low blow.
Yes.
Low blow to go out. So.
Ooh. I think I'm good on that one. That one right there just took me right on out. All right. Do you have anything else?
I think that's all I got for tonight, man. You got anything?
Oh no, man. Just normal. Like, rate, and subscribe. If you like what you see, just tell a friend. Give us good reviews on Apple Podcasts. Just continue just to look out for us. We're gonna have more content for you guys. Continue to try to make better stuff. Me and Matty Ice, we're doing our best trying to bring out the best information. Hope what we put out tonight helps. And if nothing else, this is Armchair GMs. I'm Bugman J.
I have one more thing.
Uh-oh.
As we are approaching Christmas, we just want to say thank you for watching us, and we hope that you all have a Merry Christmas.
Yes,
and,
yes. And a Happy New Year.
So,
we'll see you before then. We'll see you before.
I was going to say we'll probably see them before then, but regardless, hope you all have a Merry Christmas, and we'll see you next week. All right, guys?
All right. Peace out.